to say to us. So we are super excited. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It is 2023. I mean, wow, we had a pretty extraordinary year. 2022, this team hit so many milestones. We had record number of people hitting ranks, record number of people that were earning global recognition and awards, record number of people who some doubled and tripled their income from the previous year. I mean, what more could a team ask for except more of that, right? And that's what 2023 is going to be all about, because I think there's so many people that have been waiting and watching, and now is the time. I think they are ready to go. We've never seen such like bubbly excitement, except over just the last 30, 60 days. People jumping in and just going for it. And of course, we love that. That's what we want for you, for your teams, for everybody involved here at APL Go. And there is no better way to start the year off, right?
Right.
Than with a Michael Bernoff training. I mean, we learned that a couple of years ago when we saw him speak for the first time. And we've seen a lot of speakers. I mean, a lot of speakers. In fact, we had a little party the other night, and one of the gentlemen here is one of the top business coaches in the world, ranked. And he's an old friend of ours that we met through a networking group called Successful Thinkers. And he said to me, oh, I don't know how long we've known each other, 5, 6, 7 years. And I said, Marco, it's been 20 years. And he goes, no way. There's no possible. And then he goes, we met in like 2005. I went, yeah, that's like almost 20 years ago. So, but I mean, the people that are watching our company are going to get involved this year. I think there's been a lot of people watching and waiting. And you know what? That's a normal thing for a company to start in the US and for people to watch it for a couple of years and make sure it is as legit as we say it is before they jump in. So this is the time. We're so grateful you all came on to join us today. And of course, I knew you weren't going to miss this, because Michael Bernoff is one of the most extraordinary, not just speakers, not just coaches, I would say one of the most extraordinary people and human beings that we've ever had just the pleasure to spend time with. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Michael first. He is the founder of the Human Communication Institute here in Scottsdale, Arizona, a leader in the personal and professional development industry. He's impacted hundreds of thousands of people across the world with his audio programs, books, seminars. He's an unmatched natural-born talent, understanding the psychology of individuals. And that's what he's going to pass along to you guys and to us to help us with our businesses. This innate and highly tuned awareness allows him to quickly perceive what makes people make decisions that they make and what makes them do what they do. Rather than breaking down walls, Michael is skilled at getting people to rapidly lower resistance in themselves and others, allowing room for progress. Michael's the developer of the Human Interactive Technology, a powerful technology that allows people to understand unknown psychological triggers and powerful communication strategies so they can increase their charisma and their influence, leaving their average life behind. And of course, the author of one of our favorite books, Average Sucks, right? And I'm going to tell a real quick story. I'm going to pass it over to Kelly. We were in San Francisco and I was wearing my Average Sucks sweatshirt and this homeless guy walks by us and he's like, that's right, average sucks. And then he went on to create a little Average Sucks song that he sang all the way down the street. I thought that was so great because you know what? He's right. Average does suck. And this is a group of extraordinary people that are going to get some extraordinary results by listening to the right people.
All right, so I'm going to keep this short. Not really. I have like a million things I want to say, but I'm only say 3. So first of all, I'm going to give you the secret, like my secret, to having this be the most extraordinary year you've ever had. And it's super simple. Everybody can do it. You all have this between your ears, right? The most valuable thing that you possess, right? Your intellectual property. You have that. You already have that. It's yours. And it's super valuable. But if you use it in a way to morph your mind, to think differently, because up until this point in your life, you have this vision of how it is and what you know, what you don't know, even what you don't know, right? Because you've heard that before up till now. But what if you actually were able to make decisions based upon not the past or not the future, based upon just what works? And because that's what you're up to in life, and you're consciously making those every time. Well, that's what you're going to find out, I'd say, a little bit tonight, but I'm saying that's what I used to be successful in this industry, right? My mind, not my hands. I used to use my hands for business, right? I currently have a broken arm. It doesn't work too good doing that. But if you can use your mind and just the power, right, that you already possess, wouldn't that be great to unlock even more of it, right? I don't want to say all, but even more is more than you've had up to this point. And I know Michael can help you do that. He's definitely helped us in our team. He is this is the biggest compliment, by the way, I can give anybody on the planet. And here's my compliment to Michael, is that he's one of the few people that I know who is the most congruent person. Like, the audio matches the video, whether you're in his office here in Scottsdale, Arizona, or you're at his home, or you're just on the street, or you happen to see him at the sushi place that he picked that's super good. Like, he's the most congruent person, and that to me is like the biggest compliment I could give somebody, because man, to be who you say you are and live that out in life is awesome. So I'm super happy and excited, and definitely honored that he's willing to come on and speak to all of us tonight. So with no further ado, I'd like to bring on, are we going to bring on Mike first?
No.
Okay.
Mike is on with us, though. I know he's going to help us answer some questions at the end on how to get started with Michael's programs that are coming up. I am going to mute out everybody except the co-hosts, which include Michael and Mike. So I'm going to take care of that first. And here we go. Michael.
Am I unmuted?
There you are.
Yes.
There I am. We made it. Happy New Year, everyone. So is that the cue where I take over and we just start talking about really cool stuff to make everybody's lives better?
Yes.
Right.
That's
I love it. I will tell you, and compliment back to both of you. I mean, determination, understatement, desire, understatement, both enormous, Tina and Kelly, in that area. These are two human beings. If you've never met them or went to sushi with them, spent time with them, literally, I got to tell you, they are probably is even not even a strong enough word, definitely obsessed with your dreams and things they want. So like when it came to New Year's resolutions or dreams for 2023, they thought of every single one of you winning this year. And that's really what makes them leaders. Their biggest question and concern in this world is, how do we make this company work for everyone to help everybody get what they want? So I just want to give it up for them real quick. Tina and Kelly for putting this together tonight. Type it in the box. Say, great job. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do this. APL, go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. So this is going to be amazing. These are incredible leaders. And I'm going to tell you, their dream, if you ever want to give back to them, is to become so extraordinary this year that you get what you want. Because one of the things that I learned watching some of my heroes back here is guy Mark Messier, one of the great, he's Tom Brady of ice hockey. And one of the things he did is he was more excited watching another human being win. So when Wayne Gretzky did amazing, he did amazing because he passed him the damn puck. So what I want for all of you is they want to pass you the puck, they want to pass you the ball, and they want every one of you to win your version of the Super Bowl this year. So, and I see Mikhail out there, the Super Bowl, let me explain in English, that's the World Cup. Got it, everybody? So the point is, what I want for all of you is to win in a major, major way. So raise your hands if you are determined to make 2023 incredible. Raise your hands high, raise them up. And if you can't raise your hands, you ain't going to get shit this year. How many of you understand that? Unless you can't raise your hands, raise your elbows, do something, move your eyebrows, do something. So we got to physically get involved with what it is that we want. So I got a lot of stuff I want to tell you to do. Now, before we get started, there's a few things I'm going to tell you because FOMO is real. Like it's real. I got a 21-year-old. It's a real thing. Fear of missing out. So a couple things I want to talk with you and I want to interact with all of you, but I also know you've got friends and family right now that you care about that are involved with this company that are not here. And you know they're not here. They're watching Yellowstone right now. They're watching reruns of Ozarks where Kelly's outside living in the Ozarks, right? I got a good memory, right? You've got people out there doing things they shouldn't be doing, watching the news, even if it's your channel. You know them. This is a phone. I encourage you to text them right now. Go, dude, you got to get on this thing. This dude's crazy. Tell them it's a nut job. Tell them somebody's insane. They'll watch anything, but I'm gonna tell them to get here. And here's why. I know for a fact that we can get 20, 30 more incredible human beings to hear this, because if you want your life to change and you care about people, you take 30 seconds and you do that right now. And a lot of people aren't willing to do the little things. You want to know what 2023 is all about? My mentor, that man up there, Jim Rohn, right there, that guy right there, he said, the people that do the little things get the big results. And one of the little things, we got to become great promoters. And if you can't promote free, you ain't going to promote pay. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? So take a minute. Here's what I'm asking you to do. Pick 3 people. Say, I thought about you. I love you. Come join me on this right now. Hey, let's make 2023 amazing. Jump on, put the kids to bed. Let's do what needs to get done. Let's make it happen. I encourage you to do this. Not so I could talk to more people, so your team gets a great opportunity to win. So I know a lot of you. I see a lot of faces of people that I love and I know already. And I love all of you because you're human beings. But I'm going to tell you, some of you have been through our work, which I'm excited to see. You're back again. That means nobody died the first time, which is great. But I'm also going to tell you that my outcome here tonight is to guarantee that you walk off here with a couple of ideas. How many of you have seen a movie twice? And the second time you saw it, it made, well, you're great at raising your hands. I didn't finish my question. Your hands are going up, right? This means you know you're influential. But how many of you have literally seen a movie twice and the second time you go, that wasn't there the first time? How many of you have done that? And Pulp Fiction, man, could really mess your brain up big time, okay? And definitely that's like an acid trip. I've never been on one, but that movie definitely is one, right? But the point is, I will tell you that a lot of us have seen things and heard things. And the biggest misnomer that we have is, I've done this before. I've heard this before. How many of you have come across someone that goes, well, I've done that network marketing thing before. How many of you have said that, right? Heard that? Well, don't be like them. I go, I've heard this Michael Bernoff guy before. I've been on a Zoom before. I don't care where you are. You've never heard this is you today. You've never heard this is what you're dealing with today. And you've never heard me in 2023 because this is the first Zoom that I've done in 2023. So we know that it's going to be a first thing. So I'll tell you a funny little story here real quick. I remember I was a valet. And I'll tell you, you got to find out how you recruit people. Valets are wonderful. People that have parked cars, they're hustlers, waiters and waitresses, managers. I am telling you, they're good with people. School teachers, you know, the good ones, they're great for our team. Like I used to give a list for people like who to go after: waiters, waitresses, valets, not salespeople, because salespeople want to sell and we can't sell this. How many of you understand that? We can't. You want to get people that are good with people. So I was a valet. And I had previously done network marketing, which means that I got involved in about 19 years old with direct sales. And I'm 45 right now. So how many of you understand it's been a couple of years I've been involved with this? I use the same skills on a regular basis that I learned in direct sales almost every day of the week to get what I want. Even the other day, you could tell this isn't recorded right now. So it was January 1st. And I got to get into breakfast at 11 o'clock. The church crowd, New Year's Eve hangover crowd. How many of you understand? I don't drink, but I got to get into breakfast. My daughter gets in there, walks in. She goes, I can only get a table of 4. I forgot we're with 5. I said, don't worry, I'll be in a minute. And the same techniques, the voodoo that I got a chance to use years ago, I was able to use to get in 2 seconds at a table with a big ass line behind me. How many of you would love those skills to get a table anytime you want? How many of you would like that? And I'm telling you, it's possible. It's the same skills I learned in direct sales. So I was years ago. This is how long ago I was in network marketing. My first experience was there was a guy named Jake Plummer who his mom was involved. He was a quarterback of ASU. I don't know if anybody remembers Jake the Snake. And he couldn't do it because he had a scholarship, but his mom got me involved when I was in college. And this guy, Ryan Wood, came to where I was living and they got me involved with these phone cards. So like, do you use the phone? And I'm like, I do use a phone. Do you call long distance? Do you like saving money? All three were yeses. Okay, they need to buy this. So I give $100 and I got into the phone card game. I think Kelly was in the company too. And I get in this phone card game. And like, just so you guys know, phone cards, I don't see anybody like 28 here or younger. What a phone card is, it looks like a credit card, and you scratch off a number in the back and you dial like 1-800-741-876543, 87632, enter your PIN, 9743218, blah, 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 blah. Then the number, then you wait about a half hour, and then you can save 9 cents. And I got involved with this business. I made about $500 selling to my 5 friends, and then nobody else wanted to do anything. And I thought the industry didn't work. So I'm a valet and I'm parking cars, and it's 1997. And this guy pulls up in a gorgeous Bentley. Okay. And I have a beat up beat up Infiniti G20. Okay. So let me explain real quick. Infiniti G20, Bentley, not the same thing. How many of you understand that? So I got my beat up car, and I know everything, man. I'm a valet. I'm looking for a $20 tip. Dude pulls up in a Bentley in New Jersey at the, where was I at? The Headquarters Plaza Hotel. And they're there for a convention for network marketing. Good looking guy, like perfectly, looked like he's been tanning for a month. How many of you know that people got the Cabo look? Do you guys got it? Look, they just got back from Cabo, right? And they're all looking good and smiling, and he's got a big old smile, 9 million teeth. Do you guys know people like that? Big old mouth of teeth. And the guy said, son, you have a good personality. And I said, thank you, because I'm about to make $20. He goes, have you ever considered getting involved with network marketing? And I said, yeah, I've done that kind of stuff. You know, I got in once, got 5 people that no one else wanted to do it. He goes, is that what you think of network marketing? I said, well, that's what I think about it. He goes, do you know how much you know about network marketing? This much. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude, who cares? Whatever. And then I tell the other guy, I go, that guy in the Bentley. I had no idea who that guy was. About 3 years later, I was back in the industry again. He was a guy named Mark Hughes that owned Herbalife. How many of you understand that? I told him to screw off, a guy that ran $1 billion company. So why am I telling you this? How many of you have missed it before? How many of you have missed it? I've missed it. Because whether that's a good company or not is irrelevant right now. What's relevant is somebody was trying to help me, and I avoided letting them help me. How many of you would like to have a billionaire help you? Anybody want that? A billionaire? Millionaires? Okay, people that are successful. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I have screwed up so many times in my life. I have missed so many things in my life, and so many people wanted to help me. Even Jim, when he wanted to help me, so many times he had to say, Michael, you don't know what you're talking about. You only know how to get what you currently have. So how many of you are willing to realize that 2023 is going to be identical to 2022 unless you do some shit differently? How many of you understand that? Said perfectly. Now, if you don't like curse words, I'm from New Jersey and I model my life after the Sopranos. I'm just kidding. I don't. But the reason I say that is when people, you ever want to like really help people in a business setting, people go, you're from Jersey. What part? I go, you ever seen the Sopranos? That neighborhood. It's amazing how good that is for sales. I mean, it works wonderful. They don't say no to you. It's a great idea. Literally, I'm from like that part of town. So I say it, even though I'm not Italian, but it kind of sounds like it. But if you say it the right way, it works. So some of you are like, hey, when's he going to get to the point? Well, the point is going to be very simple tonight. My job is to help all of you become more effective and get more of what you want. And what I love about what Tina and Kelly did, this is part 1 of about 15 parts. And the reason I'm going to tell you, this is the part of the training that we need. And a lot of people look at training as learning. I want you to write this down for 2023. Learning is for losers. Implementation is for winners. How many of you have met people with 97 degrees? A guy said to me the other day, he goes, Michael, I'm going to go back and get my MBA. I said, great, then I'll never hire you. Because I don't need a guy with an MBA. I need a guy that's sold Cutco knives. I need a guy that's knocked on doors. I need a lady that's been on the internet. I need people that have gotten their face knocked down. I need people that have dealt with rejection. I don't need a guy with a bunch of concepts. I want somebody that knows how to win. So how many of you realize this year is not about learning? This year is about getting better. How many of you want to turn down the learning and turn up the getting better? Anybody catching on? You guys getting this? So I shared this on Instagram the other day. And if you're not following me there, you should, because my new video guys got some really good stuff. And Tina and Kelly, make sure you get your Instagram handle over to Mike, because they're going to blow up this call. My guy's watching this right now, and he's going to make sure to blow up this and let people know we're here. So get that over to Mike P. But the point is, why am I telling you this? Because a couple of weeks ago, I thought about my dad and the results my dad has taught me in my life. How many of you have not listened to your parents before? Anyone ever not listened to their parents? So I meant to listen, but I just forgot at the moment because I was a young kid, didn't know any better. And I remember my dad in sports would say, Michael, you got to watch what the better kids are doing in hockey and do what they do. So what I would do is I'd watch the better kids play and I'd still try to get better myself. I want you to think about that. You watch Tina and Kelly recruit. you watch them prospect, and then you try to get better at the business. I don't think you need to get better in the business. You just need to do what they do. How many of you realize, like, when you watch a player throw the ball, you don't need to get better at throwing the ball. You need to throw it the way they throw the ball. So my job is this. I'm going to tell you that I have found some things that work. I have trained hundreds of thousands of people in direct sales. I've been out of the industry professionally for 20 years, and I have trained to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars in commission checks for people. And I would just like to get 6 figures for all of you, 7 figures for all of you. And the way to do that is you've got to learn some very basic things to help you out. So I get a fun day planned, and we're going to have a lot of fun here tonight. Be about another hour. I'll go tonight. And if you got somewhere else to be, it's not going to be as fun as this. I promise to make you laugh. I'll make you cry. We're going to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to make some good stuff happen. So my outcome tonight is pretty simple. I want to share with you a couple of things that you can do right away. Even if you heard me share this before, I promise you, if you start doing it, it's going to make a difference. I have an update from doing this since last time I taught this in March. Some of you that have seen me before, I get a big update that's personal to me that I'm excited to share. So first is I'm going to share with you some stuff on how you talk with people that's going to change the way where they respond to you. Because how many of you realize, I was talking to John on our team about this the other day. John was a manager of a very, very successful, one of the nicest restaurants in town. And he goes, I was really good at managing people. I said, great. You're really great at managing people. He said, great. It's very easy to manage people when you're paying them. How many of you understand that? It's easy to manage them because they have to do what you say. What he didn't realize was he was having trouble influencing the people that he loved. And the reason he was having trouble doing that, because if I love you because I'm recruiting you, or I love you because you're my family member, those people, you're not paying those people. And if you're not paying those people, that requires real influence. So I want to show you what all of the biggest influential people in the world are doing. All the big companies, what Facebook's doing, what Instagram's doing, what TikTok's doing, what Tinder's doing. For some of you people that's your thing. I don't know what you're up to. But what's interesting is I want to share with you all what the most powerful companies are doing and how you can use this thing called words to get all of you to be more effective. So how many of you would like to use this thing called your mouth to make you a shit ton of money? How many of you would like that? Anybody want that? And also, how many of you would like to become more influential using the same technique called talking that you're using already? So I'm going to show you that in the next 10, 12 minutes. As soon as that's over, I want to help you with a little frustration point. And what I mean by frustration point is, how many people have brought someone into this business and for some reason they needed it bad? It would have been a good idea for them, but they just didn't do what needed to get done. How many of you have done that? Like, didn't do what needed to get done? How many of you realize you're that same person? Sometimes you didn't do what needed to get done. I look at me and go, we did an exercise with our circle of influence community. We did this thing, go, what could I have done in 2022? What a great question. And it was no emotion attached. There's a lot of things I could have done. How many of you could have had a different 2022 if you would have acted differently? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Here's the funny thing. There's nothing that you can do that's going to override the patterns and programs you have in your life. So my outcome tonight is to sell you on a very simple idea, that you do what you do until you start doing something different. This is what Kelly was talking about earlier. We need to develop a new pattern for ourselves so life becomes automatic. I remember back when I was 28 years old, I remember the first time I made $1 million. I have gotten to that point. Once you make it, you never don't do it again. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? Once you break it, you do it. So I want to get you to 6 figures, all of you, and they want to get you there. So once you get there, it becomes automatic and it's what you do. You maybe miss a year, but you're back the next year. How many of you okay with do it 1 year, maybe miss the next, but come back? How many of you understand? Instead of like wishful, hopeful thinking, we've got to do something different. And Gary Vee's a nice guy. I've met Gary Vee, but this whole grind your way to success, it'll kill you. Okay. So we need to get a little bit better than grinding. We got to work hard. We got to be effective. We got to implement, but more importantly, we've got to become people this becomes automatic for. So I'm going to share with you how that works. Third thing, which would be really important to talk, is why goal setting doesn't work for most people and how to actually set goals that you can actually get. Because a lot of you have goals, and I'm going to tell you, you got a better plan than your dream board. It's cute. You got a dream board. I like it. I'm happy you got a dream board, but I got something more exciting that's going to help you today than a dream board. Because I like this thing called reality. One of my earliest mentors said, why would you want dreams when you can have reality? How many of you understand that? Reality, my reality, I want to realize the things that I want. How many of you recognize, instead of like, here's my realizations for 2023, for you want to see my dreams? I'm actually not interested in seeing your dreams, because you can't cash a dream at the bank. How many of you understand that? But a reality you can. So we got to turn our dreams into realities by making new decisions. Then I'll share with you some stuff like, has anyone ever had anybody ask them, how much does it cost to get started with ABO Go? How many does it cost? What does it cost? What does it cost to get started? Like, I'm going to teach you how to respond differently to people. And it's super cool when they ask that question, how to literally be able to throw a big number at somebody to get better quality people. You know why we don't get doctors and dentists and and lawyers, it's the way you sell it. Man, it's $8 to get started. Let me know if you want to apologize for the price. I'm going to teach you how to stop apologizing, because how many of you recognize, I don't know why you're apologizing to people. How many of you realize your apologies make you broke? People that apologize, I don't apologize to anybody for anything. I will ask people to forgive me for things that I did that were not a good idea, but I don't apologize. And a lot of us apologize for price. How many of you recognize, you know why you charge for this product? Because it's great. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? Do you know why you charge for the opportunity? Because the company spent hundreds of millions of dollars over time to figure this stuff out, either physically spent that or they spent it in intellectual ideas. You guys got it? So last thing I'll cover, and then I'll teach you how to turn no's into yeses. We'll do this and then bing, bam, boom. We'll call it a day. And then I'd love to work with all of you and help you out in 2023 and really help all of you win. Because how many of you would love if I was making your calls for you? How many of you would like that? Anybody want that? Oh, I'm not really going to do that, but I want to get in your head so much where you say something, oh my God, Michael's idea just came out of my mouth. I want that to happen for you. And I want you to get so amped up to do it. So let's talk about how to make this work. So number one, a little bit of my backstory. I'm kind of like Liam Neeson in Taken. I'm a weird dude with a weird set of skills. I could say I've got a very unique set of skills. And the set of skills I have are very, very different than most people. I'm not a keynote speaker. I'm kind of a trainer. I'm more of a specialist. And I'm the guy that gets called in for the very, very interesting ideas and intricate processes. So my background is studying the art of influence and communication. So over the years, I've been to a lot of events and I've been to a lot of stuff. So I hang out with very, very interesting people. So when I go to masterminds and events, like one of the events that I was at Tina and Kelly's house and they were watching me on a camera. It's a whole story in itself. And they watched me, like, it's weird because I think they are CIA, and they were watching me in a living room and watching me do my presentation. If you guys don't know the story, it's interesting. But at that event, there's some really interesting people. So I go to that event and I go to a bunch of other ones with unique people. So I go to these places where we talk about the mind, how language works, how human beings are, help them do things. So I go there for these really good intentions. How many of you have been around direct sales long enough and you have realized that there are some people with some shady companies? How many of you have seen that over the years? Anybody seen that? Like, hey, if you only buy 8,500 water filters and you put them in your garage, we can all get rich, right? We've all been around that stuff. So I, in my world, get around sometimes some of these shadier cats too. Now, the shady cats I work with, they're not always in direct sales. They work for these companies. I'll tell you, Fox, ABC, NBC, CNN, TikTok. They work for Microsoft. They work for all these companies. And their job is to do the same thing that I teach people how to do, to get human beings' attention and to change the way they see things. How many of you realize that that is happening right now, 24/7, 7 days a week? Like in the old days, you had to warn your kids about crossing the street. Now you got to warn them about this thing. Because how many of you understand? This is my cute little kid right there. Yeah, but it's funny. I don't know. It shouldn't look like that anymore, but to me, she does. She's 11. But the point is, we got to warn kids, look right, look left, because somebody has an agenda out there for you. So what I realized what these people do is they have mastered the art of getting people's attention, lowering resistance and increasing receptivity. Like I mentioned, those shows like Yellowstone and all these shows on Netflix, people ask, what do you watch? I'm like, I don't know, watch TV. I read books and I want to get better. But the point is, why do I bring this up to you? They spend millions, if not billions of dollars getting you to push next episode so they get their $15 a month from you. How many of you realize if they're going to spend that kind of money, we need to learn what they do as well? So they have mastered the art of controlling the chemical composition in our brains. So in 2023, one of your jobs, all of you, is to become a strategic drug dealer. Now I'm going to explain what I mean by that. What's so funny is people are writing this down. Like Angela Sellers just wrote down, become a drug dealer. It's on her dream board. Become a drug dealer. Kids are going to walk in the room and go, what the hell's wrong with you? Become a drug dealer. But what I mean by a drug dealer is it's a chemist. We need to become linguistical chemists. And what a linguistical chemist is, somebody that uses words at the right time to get people the right results. Now I'm going to teach you a couple things real quick. There's 4 chemicals in the brain that all of us need to study. You're like, well, Michael, I've heard you say this before. But are you using it? And if you're not, this is your opportunity. Pay attention. Number one drug that we're really good at using, that is the least effective one, is the same one Starbucks uses to get you excited. Now, some of you are like, what's wrong with Starbucks? They're not so bad. Yeah, their business plan is simple. They want $13,462 from you, and that is what you are worth to them. How many of you understand that's the lifetime value of a Starbucks customer? $13,462, and that is what you are worth to them. So they will get you a dopamine rush that's 45 minutes to get you to come back tomorrow and sell you on smells and chemicals, because their coffee doesn't smell that way. The scents they put in the vents smell that way. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? Their coffee pot smells burnt. Okay, but that smell smells that way, so they can help you get what it is they need. So this is the thing that people excite you. They sell you on what's called a dopamine rush, which is a 45-minute high. The same thing you sell people when you go, let's talk about the comp plan. Do you know that if you're talking comp plan with people, most people are bad at math. You are scaring people and confusing them. How many of you understand that? And if you scare them and confuse them, they don't make decisions. Well, let me show you what 39 levels deep do. Stop it. Okay. What you got to ask people is better questions. So the number one thing we do is we get people excited. The number two thing, the drug that they used, is something called cortisol. Cortisol is the drug that people use when they're scared. So some network marketers get a little better and they start asking questions. So if you don't do this, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And it's amazing is it gives people something to think about for the next 2 weeks. How many of you have driven by a car accident before? How many of you have done that? Driven by a car accident? I didn't mean to, it just was there. And you look to the right. You're not a bad person for looking, but why did you look? Because your mind needs to look at things that are negative, not because you're negative, so you don't experience them yourselves. Do you know that Hollywood understands that if you put a sex scene before a murder scene, the murder scene's worse? Because how many of you realize after your calm and comfortable sex scene, we put the murder scene later, and every Friday the 13th movie had it, shower scene. Okay, got it. You guys fill this in, and then murder. That's how this stuff works. So they figured this out. So this cortisol is the fear of things not working. And this is what most people do for selling. And this is what I call cheap version of selling. And what I mean by a cheap version is I want to get you excited. I want to scare you. I want to get you excited. I want to scare you. Because if you don't take this one product, your prostate's going to break. If you don't take this product, what's going to happen is you're going to have no sex drive. If you don't take this product, your kid's going to wind up with worse ADD. This is what we do. Okay. We either scare them or get them excited. What we're going to learn how to do in 2023 is to build people up. So I want you to imagine that you've got the ability to take somebody and you got a pump. And you could literally get someone that you're about to speak to, and you can build them up so they feel empowered, so they can make a decision. How many of you believe that if we're going to sit down with somebody, our outcome is to get them empowered to listen and to believe they can make a decision? How many of you realize that is a lot better than overloading them with how all the products work, and that you have some weird herb that was developed in Guyana in 1941 that was found by Teddy Roosevelt's brother's friend's cousin, and how if you take this product, and the reason they built the grooves in our candy product is because of this, folks, you're going to confuse people. I think we need to make them a little bit simpler for people and ask a simple question. How many of you have children? Anybody got children? Raise your hands, children. How many of you ever told your kids you're proud of them? Anyone ever said, I'm proud of you? Don't do that shit. It's bad for them. And the reason it's bad for them, I'm going to explain why. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to cover this. See, when I was younger, I would wait for my daddy to say he's proud of you. It's like Pavlov. How many of you heard of Pavlov? The Pavlov, like you ring the bell and then you salivate, and not you salivate, but the dog salivates and starts running by and looking for the food. Well, what's interesting about this is what Pavlov trained is I'm going to train somebody to look for the attention. So what I realized is a very powerful drug. And the drug is called serotonin. It is the drug that is built to get people to feel good about the decision that they made in their life. So I want you to think about this. When you say to your kid, I'm proud of you, you control the pride. And every time I walk by, I control the I'm proud of you. I'm going to flip the words real quick, and I'm going to tell you how long I've been doing this for over a year. I tell my kid, Maya, you did great at skating. You should be proud of yourself. I want you to think of the difference. Somebody recruits 3 people. Great job. I'm proud of you. Who gives a shit if you're proud of me? I don't care. Here's a better thing. You should be proud of yourself. Hand them the drug. So with my daughter, one of the things after about a year of doing this, she goes, Daddy, I did this at school today. I'm super proud of myself. How many of you realize we're either can control our people's pride or we're going to give it back to them. And if they become so powerful that they become better than us or leave us, so be it. How many of you recognize we need to build better people in this world that are proud of themselves? How many of you understand this? If you do, say I do. Everybody got it? Now, why am I telling you this? When you sit down for a meeting, let's play a little game called Call on Somebody. So I'm going to call on a man named Greg. I'm going to ask you, Greg, your name is Gregg, 2 G's. Greg, unmute yourself very quickly. Are you? Me? So Greg, I'm going to ask you a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So Greg, where are you from?
Grand Forks, North Dakota.
North Dakota. I've been there quite a bit. Do you know me well?
No.
Very good. I've been to North Dakota before. I'm a hockey guy. But let me help you real quick with this
Awesome.
very simple thing. So, Mr. North Dakota, are you ready?
Yes.
How long you been in the business?
About 5 years.
Very good.
I've been selling stuff for many years.
Okay, so let's say you sit down with me. You want to sell me stuff. What's the first thing out of your mouth?
Hi, Michael.
How many times have I heard that before, Greg?
A billion.
So I just put you in the thing. I just put you in my in the space in my brain with everyone else I've heard that for. One of the number one things we're gonna do in 2023 is act different, do things other people don't normally do. How many of you understand that? So what I'm gonna do is this. Greg, tell me if you think this is important to say. Let's say I'm sitting down with you to talk to you about APL Go. Does that sound good? This is not complicated. Just say yes or no. Can you sit down with me? Imagine we're role playing.
Sure. Yes.
If you want me to wear a schoolgirl outfit, I'll wear it. But can we role play? You got this? And that point is, I want to listen up. So the point is, I'm going to ask you this, Greg. So I could say to you, hi, Greg, my name is Michael, and hi, how are you? And blah, blah, blah. Let me give you a different thing. Greg, you should seriously be proud of yourself that you took the time to set up this meeting. Very few people have the confidence to literally admit they're not where they want to be financially and they want to change it. That is super important what we're doing here. Does that make you feel bad or good if I say that?
Good.
It makes you feel good. You're like, can you give me some more? Can you give me some more? How many of you understand that's the sales pitch? So the real sales pitch is not the comp plan. The real sales pitch is getting someone to believe they can make a decision. So I sit down with everybody. Folks, this is the most beautiful thing you can say to someone. Say, Greg, I just want to commend you in advance for even setting up this meeting. Very few people take their health as seriously as we're about to. Great job, man. You should be proud of yourself. Folks, he cannot not buy now. How many of you understand that? Because then he's got to give that shit back. It's over. How many of you understand? It's done. Greg has to buy. Now, also, it's the truth. Now, step 2. I'm going to say this because this fourth drug, which is the most important, oxytocin. You know why they build the characters in all the shows I was watching? I don't know why my 10-year-old's now on Golden Girls, but we're in all the shows. We've done them all. She's watching Golden Girls with my wife. But there's every character in every show, so someone's got someone to relate to. How many of you understand? Whether it's Facts of Life or Different Strokes or whatever, we've got someone to relate to. So what's interesting about this, Greg, and why I bring this up is, I'd say, Greg, a lot of people call what we do a business opportunity. That's not at all what we do. And if you're looking for one of those, you should probably look elsewhere. We're a community of people that are dedicated to help each other financially. And we work together. We are a group of individuals independently work together to help each other financially and health-wise, to hold each other accountable to our goals. So we're think of us a club of people. How many of you recognize how badass that is, what I just said? Anybody catch that? Raise your hands. No one is saying that in the industry. So instead of saying, do you want to go to my business opportunity? We've heard that before it goes in a box. So I want you to very simply say, listen, we're a group of people that are working together to hold each other accountable to our health and our financial goals. And we work together. Think of this as a club, something to join, something to be part of. How many of you realize that is gold right there? Does everybody understand? And that is how you market what we do. If you just want a business opportunity, Google it. If you want to have a community of people, I got to tell you, Tina and Kelly, some of our mentors, they help hold us accountable. We work together financially. We work together to help ourselves grow. And they just looked at each other like, that's gold. We're going to say that from every other meeting. And the point is, why do I say this? Because it's the truth. How many of you really want a business opportunity? Not really. I want the tax benefits of a business opportunity. I want a community of people that has no judgment involved, where we work together and grow and help each other be accountable for getting the things we want financially and health-wise. How many of you realize that is what we really want deep down? How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? So our job is to elicit drugs. So I'm going to mute you back, Greg. I love you. And thank you for role playing with me. Next time you wear the outfit. But the point is, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up so all of you can recognize this is how fast it works. How many of you are catching on right now? Everybody getting this? Making sense? So Michael, why are you telling me this? I'm telling you this because I want all of you to be more effective at what we do. It took me a little longer than I expected today, but I'm going to get at this. So my background is in something called communication and influence. And what communication and influence is how to use words to affect the nervous system to get people to shift and change. I'll cover that more in a little bit with all of you, and I'm gonna help you out with a couple of things. Now, how many of you have ever said before, man, for some reason, I just can't figure it out. Jim should be doing better than he does. He's just not very motivated. You can replace the name Jim for your name or someone else you know. How many of you know what I'm talking about? You guys got it? Now, why are they not? They're not lazy. They're not stupid. They are programmed to not make this work. How many of you realize if you do not change your patterns in your life, there's two ways to change your life. One is change your actions. And number two is to override your perception of how you see you so you do different things. I'm going to tell you, changing your actions is going to take a very long time. Changing the perception of you is going to change very, very quickly. So let's play a little game here real quick. And what I'm going to ask all of you to do is like listen carefully to the stuff that I say and pay attention to the things that I say because they're super important. I don't need to get into my background too much because let me just give you it real fast. I don't have like a cool story like Michael fell off a train when he was a kid, lost his life. He came back from the dead and eventually grew back both his legs because of a direct sales product. And now he's rich and became famous. How many of you understand I don't have that? Let me tell you my story. I didn't have to do anything growing up because my parents trained me to be average. How many of you had parents that did not give you really good advice on how to get where you want to go? How many of you know what I'm talking about? So my parents, when I was a kid, I said, Mom, I want a new car. My mom said, sounds great, become a business owner. So I took advice from a school teacher and an engineer. I love my parents, but how many of you realize school teachers and engineers, and I don't mean a trained engineer, aerospace engineer, are not the people you ask how to get rich. So they said, work hard and be a good person. So I failed miserably in business because I grew up middle class. How many of you grew up middle class in life? Anybody grew up middle class? I talk about this a lot because it comes in three flavors, lower, middle, and upper. And people say, what's wrong with middle class? Well, there's nothing really wrong with it, but here's the problem, middle class. You don't have to do shit. How many of you recognize you're okay? You got an extra pair of shoes, you got an extra shirt, you got at least one car in your house, you got a couple extra bucks. You don't have to do very much to just get by. How many of you understand that? But if you're hustling, like you have to make money to pay your rent, you have to make money, you're more motivated. So what's fascinating is more people became rich being broke than they did being middle class. So why am I telling you this? I think the most invisible issue that we're up against with people is 80% of the people you're prospecting either grew up lower, upper middle class, or right down the middle. They are trained to be average. And if you see all those signs that average sucks, I truly believe average sucks. And I don't mean you need to be better than other people. You need to not be controlled by your average. So I'm going to explain what your average is right now and what other people's are. So I'm also going to give you 4 very simple words that you can use to motivate people and motivate yourself. So let's have a little bit of fun with this right now. Number 1, how many of you ever said this to yourself? I will never do that again. How many of you have done that? Never again. Sometimes we say that we're over the toilet bowl because we just drank a 40 of Old E. How many of you know what I'm talking about? It was me in high school. Anyone knows what that means? That shit's disgusting. Okay. I don't know what you drank in England, but we did that. Or how many of you ate oysters, got food poisoning? Everyone done it? Never again. Never eat oysters again. Okay. How many of you been in a relationship where you said never again and go back to that guy? Ladies, how many of you went back for one more round? Anybody? Ladies, you know what I'm talking about? Don't do that. Okay. So we say to ourselves these words, never again. Never again is our cortisol hit where we say, never again. I will never do that again. And this is important to know. And the reason it's important to know, because you're basically saying, do not want this thing. So you're dealing with people that said, I don't want this. And that's very simple. You see that? Like that's a college degree right there. That handwriting, that's crazy. Do not want. So whenever you say you don't want something, your mind goes, got it. But I need to know what you do want. So then while you're in a drunken stupor, while you're pissed off, while you're bothering your boss, you say, I just want to be self-employed. So then you meet Tina and Kelly and you're now self-employed, but you didn't make a business work. You didn't say, I want to be a successful business owner. You just wanted to be self-employed. How many of you recognize a lot of you became a business owner because you spent a few $100 to get in the business? How about you change that and go, I want to be a successful business owner with some self-respect. How many of you understand that? But that's not what you said. You basically said, I just want a business. So what happens is, this is where we're controlled in our lives. By what we want, by what we don't want, by what we want, don't want. And it's kind of like bitching and complaining. I want this, I don't want this, I want this, I don't want this, I want this, I don't want this. And it's most people's conversation. How many of you would agree? Most people talk about what they want and what they don't want. Anybody got that? It's the conversation. Most people don't talk about how, like I was in the locker room the other day playing ice hockey, right? And somebody's like, you talk fast, dude. Can you slow down? No, you could learn how to listen faster because I'm going to give you double information half the time. I said to this guy, I'm getting a new pair of skates. He goes, which ones you getting? I said, you know, these. He goes, how much are they? I go, they're $1,000. He goes, why would you buy $1,000 skates? Well, not only because I can, because I want to, right? And it kind of matches. When you have a $100,000 car, you buy $1,000 skates. And Mike and my team goes, why did you tell him that? Why didn't you ask him this? Dude, you should ask me a different question. How do I get a pair like that? How many of you realize very few people are walking up to the guy or the girl, the people that has, like, if you saw Tina and Kelly's house, it's gorgeous. You should be asking them, how do you get a house like this? How do you become an investor? How do you do this? And very few people say, I want what they have. Better question is, how do I do it? How many of you understand this? Everybody catching on? We need to start asking these questions. So this is what people do. And we want and don't want. It's like bouncing their heads against the wall. But this is what controls people's lives more than anything. And this is what Kelly was talking about earlier. I'm valid to be able to talk about this because I have a history in this matter. And I'll tell you what the history is in a minute. How many of you had a fake ID as a child? Anyone had a fake ID? Okay, raise your hands. These are my fun people. How many of you had somebody else buy alcohol for you because they had a fake ID? Raise your hands. Okay, good. Now, I'm qualified to talk about this because I had a fake ID business when I was a kid, supply and demand. Shouldn't have done it, got in a little trouble as a kid, but I had a fake ID. And people say, well, Michael, that's wrong to have a fake ID. Well, how many of you have a fake ID too? Because you operate from an ID that's not true, because you tell yourself you can't do things you can. How many of you realize most of you have fake ID, you pretend you're not good at business and you really are? How many of you understand this? You identify as someone that one day is going to be good at this. You identify as someone that business is hard. I'm in Utah and I'm walking out of this restaurant and a drunk lady walks out of a bar. So whenever it's funny, Utah, drunk lady at bar, it's always fun to talk about, right? Lady walks out, stumbling, am I going through a divorce? You have no idea how hard divorces are. And I looked at her, I said, I don't think divorces are hard. She goes, I think they're harder than you want them to be, but I don't think they're hard. How many of you realize business is not hard? It's harder than you'd like it to be. How many of you understand that? Different word, different outcome. They mean two totally different things. I don't think this business is hard. I think this business is harder than you'd like it to be. And that's the difference with language. We need to change that perspective. So I'm going to turn off this phone. That phone's ringing. If you guys want to close a deal, we can do that. I'll pick it up and I'll close the deal. But the point is, why am I bringing this up? We all have an identity that controls our lives. How many of you have ever said, tomorrow morning, I'm going to start working out? Maybe you said that yesterday. You guys know what I mean? You got a whole plan. I got someone busted right there. Julie, where you're busted, right? And tomorrow I'm going to work out. Put a little note by your bed. Tomorrow I'm going to work out. 4 a.m. I'm going to get up. And I got my Lululemon clothes on before I go to bed. And my dog's already pre-walked. And tomorrow I'm going to work out. And you go to bed, you wash your face, you comb your hair, you get ready for bed, and you take off your plan of who I was today and you put it over tomorrow. So when you wake up in the morning, what do? You look at the plan, go, what am I going to do today? And you see who you were yesterday. How many of you recognize we identify as a person doing what we do, not as the person we want to be? How many of you realize we all have an identity that looks like this? One day I'll make the business work. This is going to be my year. You identify as a wanter and a wisher versus the person that makes it a reality. How many of you are getting this right now? Raise your hand, everybody catching on. Our job is to upgrade our identity this year. We need to identify as people that do well in business. I need to identify as a person that I've been making this harder than I need to. Why? Because I was foolish and silly and I didn't know any better and I was being immature. How many of you realize a lot of you have been crybabies? You've been immature about it. And you didn't realize, like, Greg, I appreciate you've been in business for 5 years, dude. This is not only the year to mess around. You've been screwing around with this, dude. You are way more talented. You know you are. And how do I know that? Because I would have heard your name, that you were the biggest dog in this whole thing and making this happen. That's a compliment dog. We don't want to call the ladies dogs, call the gentlemen dogs. But the point is, I want to tell you this, the biggest dog making this thing happen, making it happen. And literally, there was a minute where Tina and Kelly were mad because you were making more money than them. That is the guy that I want you to identify as. Do you understand that? And they'd be cool with that. They're cool with you surpassing them. So we need to change your identity. How do we change your identity? Well, one of the issues we have is, I talk about this in my book, Average Sucks. I used to identify as an average hockey player. Like, I let other people have the win. Like, some of you know what you're doing? You're letting Tina and Kelly be the winners. Why? Because it's easier to let them go through the shit than it is you. How about you get on the same page with them and really do the work? It's okay to be great if you're willing to also do great actions. How many of you understand that? It's okay to have a big ass ego. Like, I teach my daughter to have a ridiculous ego in skating, like ridiculous, if you back it up with the work. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? How many of you want to take a big ass ego this year? I am great and I'm going to act great. And the last thing we got to get good at to control ourselves right here, this very simple thing, is a little something called recruiting. Now, how many of you think you got to get better at recruiting? Anybody think they got to get better at recruiting? I don't think you got to get better at recruiting. I think you're great recruiters. All of you, like the world's greatest recruiters. Michael, I haven't brought anybody in. Yeah, but you brought some people into your life to keep you where you're at. How many of you realize when you married that person that's got that sister-in-law, brother-in-law that drives you nuts, you recruited them? How many of you understand that? Not into the business, but into your life. You know that neighbor that you bought that house and you bought a house and he drives you nuts on the HOA? You recruited that guy into your life. You know the person that you got in your life that you feel like you're better than? Dude, at least I'm better than Jim. You recruited that standard into your life. How many of you realize that we all have people in our lives that hold us stuck? And this is our life. We've got people that back up our reality. We have an identity, things we want and don't want. And we live in the middle of this box in a little something called our average. And we wonder why we don't get the life we want, because we live in here, but everything we want is out here. So how do you make 2023 different? We got to get out of the box. And there's one way to get out of the box. I'll give you 3 options, but there's really only one way. Number 1, you're going to have to recruit other people to help you, and you're going to have to be able to listen to them and do what they say and really truly become coachable. How many of you realize coachable does not mean up to a point? Coachable means I will do whatever you ask me to do unless it is morally and ethically wrong. How many of you understand that? That's coachable. Kelly and Tina say time to wear black shirts every day of the week because that's what makes you rich. How many of you realize we're black shirt time? Everybody gets a black shirt. Everybody got it? You do what you got to do. The reason I'm telling you this is if somebody's done it, you got to listen and make it happen. So number 1 is you got to listen, ask for help. Number 2, you can build a ladder, get out of the box. Number 3 is we can outgrow the box so it doesn't hold us back anymore. How many of you realize 2023 is about growing our skills in our life to become who we're capable of being? How many of you understand that? We've got to grow ourselves. Well, sounds great, Michael. How do we grow ourselves? Well, one of the ways we got to grow ourselves is we've got to learn what really moves us and gets us to be who it is we're capable of being. What gets us to get from where we are to where we want to go. So I know we slated an hour. I'm going to go about 15, 18 minutes over tonight. Is that okay, everybody? 15, 8 minutes. If you want to leave, you can leave. The door is open. We're just going to talk about the multi-million-dollar stuff after you left. Okay, does that sound good? So we're going to wait for one person to leave, and then I'll teach your ass how to get rich, and we'll figure it out. So feel free to leave, buddy. Okay, I'm just teasing. How many of you recognize I'm having fun tonight? Anybody realize I'm having fun? I'm away from my kids. I love them. I say, my kids say, I said to Maya, I saw her at the rink. I said, I'll see you in a little bit. I go help some people. She goes, go change some lives, Daddy. I'll catch you later. Because if I can get a few of you to get it tonight, it was worth every minute of my time. Because money's one thing. That's not what motivates me. It's getting a few of you to get it to make this world a more effective place. So let's get at it right now and talk about a couple of very, very important things that are going to help you grow and get where you want to go. So how many of you got some goals for this year? Anybody got some goals? Big goals? Okay. So we could type them in the box if you do. I'd love to see some of your goals. I'd like to see what you got. And you could type them as I talk about this. So let's just say I called APL Go and I called over to, I don't know, Europe or whatever. And I called, I don't know where the server is that lives for the company. And I asked them to give me the names of 100 distributors, people in the company, ages, ethnicities, colors, creeds, sexual orientations, religions, types of people, people that are into dogs, cats, and sheep. And I want 100 different people. Okay. And I want to motivate all of them. And I bring them down to my office and I said, look, guys, I want to motivate you all to get where you want to go. And I get them excited. I say, someone get a new car, make 6 figures, 10 new national directors, make my friends rich. I love that. Figure it all out. And the guy that said, carrier lady said, I want to make my friends rich. I want you to become a better friend with yourself and be rich yourself. And then they'll just do it by default because I only hang out with people that have money that can afford to hang out and do the cool shit that I do, because it's really boring to hang out with people that can't afford the things that I like to do. So how many of you want to hang out with sushi friends? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? That can afford sushi, not McDonald's friends. Anybody know what I'm talking about? McDonald's friends will kill you because it's bad for you. I don't care how good your products are. Your products will not cure a human being that eats at McDonald's. Okay. Good food. Not good food. Okay. You guys got it. So premier director, it's all great goals. So I said, listen, you guys all got these goals. Let's figure it out. I'll give you 6 months. Go do it. Even here's what Tina and Kelly did. Go do it. 6 months later, 100 people all come back. I fly them back because I can't get them to come back. I fly them all back, put them back in my office here. I said, how'd you do? Well, 3 people got their goals, and Tina and Kelly. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why did nobody get their goals? And like, I find out what everybody did. Everybody did the same thing, but 3 people got their goals. I'm thinking, what's wrong here? And then I realized I got it. I think I figured out what the problem is. I didn't give them subliminal tapes. So then I give them subliminal tapes and send them back for 6 months. And guess what? Still 3 people and Tina and Kelly hit 7 figures, 8 figures. They go become rich. Now I'm thinking, what's wrong? So I asked Tina and Kelly, what did you do? And then I teach exactly what they did to these people. And they still didn't do it. And then I realized this. Well-meaning, nice, good people that do what will never work for them will never work for them. Let's just get really real. What won't work for you just won't work for you. But there is something that will work for you. And I want to explain this very quickly so all of you get it. 3% of the world are what's called decide and do people. And I am not one of them. 3% of the world is motivated by dopamine, that they get excited about what they want. They've got a built-in ego. Daddy beat them when they were 5. Something happened where they just go do what needs to get done and they make it happen. I don't know why, but they do it. 97% of the world, including me, is not motivated by dopamine. I'm motivated by cortisol. By if I don't do it, what bad could happen? How many of you realize that most of us are trying to get people excited about this opportunity, about how great it is and it'll change their life, and they quit 30 days later? Of course they do, because you're giving them the Starbucks high. It's 45 minutes long. What I'm motivated by is something different. So I'll give you an example. If I when I was a kid, Arnold Schwarzenegger, pre-politics, pre-everything, what's going on, he was like, and I know Kelly had it too, the workout manual, Arnold Schwarzenegger, we all worked out, we all followed, we watched him do his thing, with what was that movie, Pumping Iron, and I cut off my head, I put it on his body, my fridge, eat like Arnold, and I had that. So I'd go up to the fridge, and I still grabbed out cheesecake. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Anybody catching on? What I should have done is taken a picture of I don't know, something from when I was a kid that was very unhealthy, made them look even bigger and wider and big, like 9 million pounds, put a picture of my face, go, if you eat wrong, you'll wind up like this. How many of you realize celery and cucumbers would have came out and I would have signed up for APL Go immediately? How many of you understand? And the reason why is all of us have to take our dream boards and put them to the right. And also offer ourselves a nightmare board, because how many of you realize a nightmare board is going to motivate you faster than a dream board? How many of you are getting this? Everybody catching on? Why am I telling you this? Well, let's play a game called Call on Neil Thomas. So I'm going to call on Neil. I'm just going to ask to unmute. I don't think we need to push anything else. Neil, unmute. You got it, Neil. You can do it, Neil. So Neil, how long you been in the business?
Oh, about 15, 20 years on and off.
Are you having fun?
I'm having fun now. I found the right home.
You not only a right home, you found the mansion. And that's what this is. This isn't the right home. You could tell people that this ain't the right home. This is the, where are you from? England? Where are you from?
I am. It's late. Yeah. England, Norwich.
I didn't ask if it was late, but thanks for filling it in. I like your voice. But let me ask you a question, Neil. So what's the original reason you got started in the business?
Changed my life from working the humdrum business of 9 to 5, or I'm ex-military as well.
So this is what people do. They confuse themselves why they got started. Here's the deal. He was miserable doing what he was doing and he wanted something different. Am I correct?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So what's fascinating is everyone's like, dude, I got started because I liked the products and they made me feel good. And it helped me with my this and this is better. That's not why you got started. You got started because you had limited energy and you took the product and now you have energy. How many of you realize 99% of the people got started because they were in despair and they had a problem? How many of you are getting this? If you are, ding, ding, ding. So instead of asking people, hey, do you want to get rich? Here's a better question. What's not perfect in your life yet? That question has made me millions of dollars. What's not perfect in your life yet? Dude, the guy was military. He was making decent money. He had a good life. Things were okay. What was not perfect? He didn't own his destiny. He didn't have his retirement set up, correct? And he was around very negative people, because after the first, 12 weeks in military after basic, you get around some really pain in the ass, judgmental people. You know this to be true. Kelly will tell you this as well. You stay as a lifer, that ain't a good life. How many of you understand that? Am I correct? So the point is, why am I bringing this up? We need to remind people they're not where they want to be so we can get them started. How many of you understand this? Everybody ding, ding, ding.
Oh, yeah.
So the big question is, what's not perfect in your life yet? And we ask that question, we could then offer a solution. So I'm going to keep you muted, my friend. You don't need to unmute. But the point is, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because this is what motivates people to get them to make a decision. Do you realize that very few people are going to get started in this company because they think they're doing okay? There's nothing really wrong. Unless we rub the itch or we remind them something's not perfect, you can say, I was on a call the other day, this Zoom, and one of my mentors said, what's not perfect in your life yet? And you let them tell you. And what's fascinating is the majority of you, the reason you got started with APL Go is you were either in the wrong company and you were disenfranchised, or you were with, you didn't have the energy, or you were looking for a health product that was real, that worked and easy to use, or you had bad leadership where you were at. The reason I'm bringing this up is most people get started when they recognize they had a challenge. How many of you realize unless we get this, nothing is going to change. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because we need to break people out of the average that they're in and offer people a new identity. So instead of offering them the identity, identify as a business owner, folks, that's going to take 6 months to a year to get them to re-identify from a school teacher as a business owner. But everybody can join a club. Everybody can join a community. But the problem is a lot of us get asked this question. Like, I'm going to call on Sarah Ward. Sarah, are you out there, Sarah Ward? You just got called on. You're the next contestant on. You're right. So Sarah, how you doing? Unmute.
I'm good. Yourself?
Where are you located, girl?
Ontario, Canada.
Very good. Very good. Our home and native land, true patriot love. Got it. I'm a part Canadian, so I got it. I can go into this, but let me ask you a quick question. What's not perfect in your life yet?
I'm not where I want to be financially or personally.
Okay. So next thing I say might be hard for you guys to say, but some of you think this is not good, but I'm gonna tell you, we have to be willing to risk the relationship to make the relationship better. How many of you realize in any relationship, we need to risk the relationship to make it better? Does everybody get that? So I'm going to say something that maybe people don't like. I'm going to say, Sarah, I bet that's uncomfortable that you're not where you want to be.
Yes, it is.
And it's been going on for a while.
Yes.
Are you open to changing it, or are you planning on this for the rest of your life?
Most definitely changing it.
Okay. Now, the reason I ask people, I bet that's uncomfortable, is it just makes it a little bit worse. But the point is, it's actually caring. How many of you realize that's how you care? I could listen to someone. When someone calls me and tells me their problem, you know, the first thing I say, have you told this to someone before? I have. Got it. So do you want to tell me again, or do you want to talk about how we solved it? That's a good one. I like that. Write that down. That's good. But the point is, let me help you with something else, Sarah. You're smiling right now. So has anyone ever asked you, how long have you been in the business?
About 7 months now.
Has anyone asked you, how much does it cost? Has anyone ever done that?
Yes.
How do you respond when someone asks that?
I just let them know that it's not really a cost. It's investing in what you want out of what you're putting into your
And
time.
unfortunately, because guys like Greg have been salespeople for years, they've heard that one, right, Greg? We've heard that one before. So I'm going to give you a better response. Ask me, how much does it cost?
How much does it cost, Michael?
Well, I'm going to tell you there's 3 ways to get started and blah, 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 blah. Ask me again. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. Ask me.
How much does it take to get started?
Wrong question. And then I pause. Can I give you a better question? What would you like it to do for you? And I bet you don't know all it can do. So I want to tell you that we're a community of people that work together collectively to help you change your financial situation permanently, as well as become a more healthy person. So I don't know what that would be worth to you, but for a few $1,000s a year, it's broken down monthly. You know, you also get some great products and stuff as well. You become part of a community that helps people grow. And the average college education at McGill University in Canadian dollars is about $400,000 a year. Okay. And you're going to get an opportunity to get started with us for a couple of grand for the year. Am I correct, guys? A couple of grand for the year. Is that right? And the reason I want to throw that out there, broken down monthly, is it's a community of people that help people grow. The reason I'm going to throw that out there is, if you're selling someone something that's a couple $100 a month, that's the attitude they have. How many of you understand? We need to explain what the year is going to be in advance and not bullshit people. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? So when someone says, how much does it cost? I say, wrong question. That's a crazy thing to say. Wrong question. What would you like it to do? Because if you tell me we want it to do, you could see if it's worth it or not. How many of you recognize if you tell them $199 or $300 for a distributor kit or whatever it is, how many of you recognize as soon as you do that, they're going to have their answer right there and then. You need to take a stance right off the bat where you tell them you're in control. How many of you are getting this right now? Can you do this? Now, I know you're a polite Canadian that I think the British colony still runs you guys, but here's the point, Sarah. You can say that too in Canada. Okay. But the point is, you do have the ability to say that. Am I correct? Wrong question. Better question is, how fast do you want to change your life? How many of you are getting this right now? Everybody catching on? So I want to teach you how to respond differently. People say, Michael, how'd you get so successful? I respond differently than most people to life. I respond differently to life, and I respond differently to people, and I say things in a different way. Because how many of you have ever used this term before? And I got about 15 minutes left. I'm going to go through this and I'll answer questions and this and that and have some fun with this stuff. We okay, Tina and Kelly? We okay? 15 minutes are good? Oh, good. Okay, good. And again, anyone can leave if they want and like, oh, this guy is really abrasive. No, abrasive is lying. Abrasive is not saying what needs to get said. Abrasive is holding back. How many of you realize the rudest, awful thing you could do in the world is not share this opportunity with people? It is absolutely awful. Sin comes from the Old Testament, which means to miss the mark and to live below low your potential. How many of you believe there's another gear inside of you? How many of you believe that? Another gear inside? Okay. It's time for you to live that. So years ago, I was teaching this thing. I'd say to people, I'd say, people, it's very easy for them to say no. Very easy for people to say no. Like they say no all the time. Like it's easy to say no. Like I'm going to play a little game called Call on Debbie Rupee. Did I say that correctly? It's such a nice little name. Rupee. Okay. Rupee. Roip. Roop. I am a Roop. Okay. Very good. So you think I'm having fun tonight?
Yes, we are.
But here's the deal. If you had as much fun as I'm having, more people would get started with you, wouldn't they?
This is true.
But the problem is you're like, let me get real serious about this business. How many of you recognize? Most of you are taking a time to activate boring. Well, the products work like this and the company started like this. Nah, you got to be silly. How many of you realize life is, you got to be silly? Like picture your favorite show on TV, be silly, be fun, be enjoyable. We've got to do this. So let me ask you a quick question. Can you say the word no for me?
No.
Say it like you mean it.
No.
Say it like someone's asking you to do something against your will.
No.
Very good. Is that easy to say?
No.
Oh, what is easy to say? You just said it. Okay, now say the word yes.
Yes.
Say it again.
Yes.
Which is harder to say?
No.
No, not really, because yes is one letter longer and 33% bigger. So I promise you, yes is harder. How many of you
Okay.
realize yes is a much harder thing to say? It's 3 letters versus 2. It's 33% bigger. It's harder. So asking someone to say yes when they want to say no is ridiculous. Like, and I used to go to, I'll date myself. I used to go to Chess King at the mall. Anybody remember Chess King? And I wanted Cavaricci pants bad. You could tell I'm from Jersey, right? And I walked in, I wanted the $90 pants, $90 back in the day. And I remember the guy says, can I help you? No, I'm just looking. I wanted the pants. I wanted to say yes. I just didn't have the money. I didn't want to admit it. So we know people are going to say no to us. So here's a better way of looking at this. I could ask you, do you want to get started in our business? Well, maybe. So I'm going to ask you a different question. Ready, Debbie?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So if I could show you a way to be healthier and have a few more dollars, is there any reason you would not want to hear about it?
I would love to hear about it.
Okay. So there's no reason you wouldn't want to not hear about it, right?
No.
Okay, good. How many of you realize the no just became a yes? So when I ask people the question, hey, listen, if I could show you a way to eat candy, literally, and lose weight, is there any reason you would not want to hear about it? Well, no. Great. Can we meet next week? How many of you recognize that we're asking people for a yes and they're predisposed to say no? So we might as well just take the no and turn it into a yes. I'll do it in slow motion so you got it. If I could show you a way to make extra money from home, is there any reason you would want to hear about? I'm having fun tonight. And they're going to say, well, no. Well, great. When's a good time we can meet next? I mean, folks, it's easy. It's not complicated. Even the guy from the Goonies can do it. How many of you understand? It's easy. The reason I'm telling you this is we got to stop making it so hard. We don't need yeses from people. We need freaking no's. How many of you understand that? That's the key. But the key to all of this is the biochemistry. And I'm going to share 2 last things with you. And then I got to ask all of you a big question. How many of you really, really want to win in 2023? How many of you really want to win? Okay, I'm going to tell you a couple of things. You're not magically going to wake up tomorrow. I love that shirt you had right there. You just scared me, Kelly. The shirt. I saw like, it looked like you had like a skull next to you. I looked over and I started having like, I don't know, like Dennis Leary experience. It was very odd, right? And I just started having a thing, but I'm back. Okay. But the point is, if you want to win next year, willpower is not going to do for you. You're going to have to override your psyche of what's going on. So I'm just going to give you a few things that are going to help you out. I can only say this so many times it works. If I were to do a blood work and like pull from Tina and Kelly, like what they do really, really well, I'm going to tell you that this is what they do right now, because this is the greatest place that they could be right now and the greatest thing going on. But if candy became illegal and immoral and candy became like, and Justin Trudeau made candy illegal and so did our president or whatever, made it illegal and you shouldn't sell candy, they'd sell something else and they would make it work because guess what? They will win no matter what. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? They identify as winners. How many of you recognize all of us need to learn how to identify as winners? Am I correct? A winner. Well, Michael, what if I'm not winning? Well, we need to first identify as one to become one. So if I pulled their blood work, I would find 4 very interesting things that both of them do. Number 1, I would find fully committed people that are all in. How many of you realize some of you are kind of one toe in And you can't ask anyone to do what you're not willing to do yourself. So you got to get your foot out of the water. We got to jump the hell in. And how many of you recognize we've got to go all in? How many of you understand this? All in, all in. Now, funny thing is, none of you have a commitment issue, because in London at whatever the hell time it is right now, you would not be on the phone right now, the Zoom right now with us, if you weren't fully committed. You're fully committed. What the challenge is, you're not congruent. You don't do what you say you're going to do. What if you had the angel of death on both shoulders and saying, all right, you said you were going to do it this year. See, I got two angel of deaths. The reason why is anytime I look back, I see the angel of death. How many of you understand? I don't want the angel of light. He's in front of me. Do you guys understand it? Behind me, angel of death, angel of death. If you do not do what you said you're going to do this year, they're coming for you. How many of you understand that? Does everybody understand that? That is called becoming congruent. I am the same dude talking like this, acting like this at sushi on stage. People, a guy said the other day, we were at, where was I at? Some restaurant in Chandler. The guy goes, dude, it's crazy seeing off stage Bernoff is the same as on stage Bernoff. Folks, I'm not two different people. How many of you realize you turn on salesperson, you need to become a salesperson? How many of you understand that? You turn on winner, you turn on recruiter. I am currently, dude, I got business cards all over the place. I'm still recruiting every day of the week. Do you guys get, I've been in business for years. I'm still getting cards. I'm still handing out things to people. I'm still doing this stuff on a regular basis because I'm congruent. How many of you realize winners win because that's what they do? Does anybody understand that? I'll do whatever it takes. I'll sit across the table with you for 8 hours. I will look you in the eye and say, Jim, I am not leaving. Your goals matter too much. Your dreams matter too much. I am not leaving your house until you understand what I understand. I will not leave. If they knew you were that committed and that congruent, how many of you realize you'd be more effective? How many of you understand that? The number 3 thing that these two amazing souls do is they're confident. How many of you realize if your confidence does not grow in this next year, clinically speaking, you are FUC, you could fill out the next letters in that ED. And how many of you realize you are that? Do you guys get it? I won't curse tonight, but I'll curse next time. I curse was shit today, but you are not going to win. How many of you understand that? If you do not become confident, your business won't work. Does anybody understand that? Well, Michael, I'm not confident. Well, that's why your business doesn't work. How do you become confident? You need to decide. How many of you realize it has to become important to you and has to become necessary? Those are two confident human beings. The fourth is communication. How many of you realize 2023 is the year of influence and communication? You either become a better communicator, or your business doesn't work, period. I'm just going to tell you point blank. If you do not become a better communicator, this will not work. This will not work. This will not work. And this will not work. And anyone that tells you you could do this without communicating with people lied to you. Because even if you want to build it online, there's still a person you need to talk to. And you have to then call them and connect with them, because you can recruit them, but if you don't communicate the message, you're going to lose. How many of you realize committed people that do what they say they're going to do, the congruent, that are confident, that are great communicators, they win, and the rest of the world does not win? How many of you understand this? Everybody catching on? That is a winner in a nutshell, whatever it is you want. If you want to develop children and you care about them, and the reason I'm here tonight is very simple. I love my kids, and I do love my kids more than I love all of you. How many of you understand that? And hopefully you feel the same way. Like Tina and Kelly love me and I love them, but I love my kids more and they love their kids more than they love me. Okay. And the reason is, in my life, the reason I tell you this is I'm here for a very particular reason. I'm recruiting right now. I'm recruiting human beings to be effective in this world. So when my kids, when I'm gone and dead, some of you have kids and grandkids that think correctly. So my kids have some normal people in this world, and Kim Kardashian is not their leader and hero. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? I need some killers out there, good moral people that do the right thing. And that's what we're after. And if we have to use this company as our model to become great, APL Go, you should be thanking them every day, not for their products, for giving you an opportunity to become a great human through the process of becoming a business owner and becoming effective. You should write the company tomorrow. Thank you for your products. And more importantly, thank you for the opportunity for stretching me and helping me grow. How many of you are getting this? Give me an amen if you're getting it. Oh, I just got an amen. I got an amen automatically. That's great. I got it in advance. But the point is, I'm going to say this to you. I got one last little thing I want to share, and I want to walk you into this for this year. And I shared this story last March, and I can't share this enough. I got to tell you this because it's everything to do with life. And then I'm going to tell you where we go from here. And I got a really cool plan to help all of you out, because I want to help all of you grow. I want to help your business grow. I want to help your life grow. And I want to help you do this. And folks, I'm not a coach. I'm not a trainer. I'm a guy that gets it, that really wants to help you get it too. And my objective is simple. My objective is very, very easy. And I don't have to be doing this tonight. I do this because I love what they're doing and I love what you're doing. But more importantly, I believe the world needs more entrepreneurs, because if you didn't learn anything from 2020, If you're not an entrepreneur and you don't have entrepreneurial skills, they can screw you anytime. Does that make sense, everybody? And they could steal everything from you and they could take it all. But if you're an entrepreneur, you get to be like Red in Shawshank Redemption and always win. Does that make sense, everyone? You could be locked in a prison, it wouldn't matter, and you can make things work. How many of you get that? Does that make sense, everyone? We must become entrepreneurs, think entrepreneurially to make things work, to become effective. So I'll share this last story with you about a guy that went through a tough time. Super tough time. He lost his wife and she died and he lost it. So he moved away from everybody, moved out in the middle of nowhere, and he was very, very negative. How many of you have been negative people? Here's what a negative person looks like. I'll do it myself because no one else can. That's really an awful thing. Do you understand how negative that is? How many of you realize, like Mike P and my team were talking about this the other day, we act out the part, like our parents will tell us, well, if you're going to do it right, do it yourself. So then you find people that can't make the business work. And why do we do this? We find people that can't make it work so we can make them wrong, so we can be right. That's too hard to run business. How many of you recognize we do this? We act like we're the only ones that know how, instead of realizing it's not that they don't know how. Nobody's taken the time to teach them. And how many of you realize that you owe an apology to yourself? And then after this call tonight, the Zoom, you should be sending Tina and Kelly a message saying, I'm all serious and I'm all in. I really want to do this. What do I need to do next? Let's go. And it needs to become Obi-Wan Kenobi, Princess Leia, and Yoda. And we need to figure this thing out. They can be Yoda and you can be Princess Leia and Obi-Wan. Do you guys got it? We've got to be the Matrix and Neo and all that stuff and Morpheus. We've got to really decide. You pick your archetype. We got to make this work. This guy moves in the middle of nowhere, pissed off, moves to Alaska. And one day, because everything goes wrong for this guy, it starts to snow real bad. Heater goes out on that day. How many of you ever had that? I've had it where like my big day I'm going to recruit, my phone goes out. Why? Because whenever you have adversity, it means you're about to grow. How many of you recognize the reason you need to pay for the businesses? If somebody gave it to you, you wouldn't take it seriously. Does everybody understand that? You wouldn't. Like if you give people the product as a sample, they ain't going to do shit. They should give you a stamp. They should give you a letter. They should draw you a picture, something. Because if you hand them a bag of product, they're not going to do anything with it. How many of you know that? Give me an amen. You know this. So this guy thinks the world sucks. So the whole world's coming around. He teaches his kids the world sucks and everything's bad. Heater goes out, tries to fix it, punches the thing, can't get it to work, calls the 800 number, can't get it to work. Nothing's going to change. Snow's real bad, wraps his kids in blankets because it sucks because they live in the middle of nowhere. So he sits down at his dining room table like this old story, and he sits on a phone book. How many of you remember phone books? Kids would sit on them so they could be taller. Picks it up, throws it to the ground, damn phone book. And then it opens and he looks at it and it says, Magic Plumber, I can fix anything. He goes, damn it. Is this that secret thing? Law of attraction wants me to call. He's so negative. He doesn't want the secret to work. Right. So he looks at it for a bit. He goes, well, I'm going to call that guy and see what he's got. So he picks up the phone and goes, Magic Plumber, can I help you? Yeah, my heater's broken. Great. Can I help you? Yeah, my heater's broken. But can I help you? My heater's broken and no one can fix it. Well, why did you call me if no one can fix it? Well, I can fix anything if you let me. Well, why do you think you can fix it? How many of you had somebody questioning you? Like I have people question me about money. It's like, dude, I own tons of real estate, stocks, investments, people questioning me all the time. You should see my client portfolio of the wealthy people I work with and help them with things. And they're questioning me, right? Can I help you, Magic Plumber? Yeah. Well, why do you think you can help it? Listen, dude, I can help you if you let me. Yeah, whatever. Let's see. Guy shows up at the house 2 seconds later. He goes, how'd you get here so quick? Well, that's my job. I'm the Magic Plumber. I had to move quickly. He goes, you think you can fix it? With his arms crossed. How many of you have met with someone with their arms crossed? Pissed off, like, why do you think this is going to be different? I've done Amway. I was in Arbonne. I did the body by fee thing. Don't you get it? I did the gold coins back in the day. Dexter Yeager's my brother. Like, whatever. You got the arms crossed, pissed off, right? What would you like me to help you? I can help you with anything if you let me help you. You just got to decide you really want to let me help you. Let's see. So the guy walks down to the heater and he looks at it. He goes, did you want me to fix it? Prove it. So he gets out his tool chest. He pulls out a tool and he gets a wrench. He goes, you sure you want me to fix this? Because I'll get it to work. Whatever. Turns a wrench, turns the screw. Heater turns on. Because that's amazing. How'd you do it? He goes, with a wrench and a screw. But how did you do it? With my hand? But how did you do it? Now he's excited. And it's like, oh my God, you're amazing. How did you do it? That's so great. I said, with my hand, I turned it. He goes, but how did you know? He goes, that's what I do. I'm the Magic Plumber. He goes, give me a bill. So he hands him the bill. $600. He goes, you've been here 5 minutes. Why $600? He goes, oh, you need an itemized receipt? I'm sorry, I didn't explain it. Using a wrench and screwdriver, $5. Knowing which screw to turn, $555. How many of you recognize there's two things you need? One is you got to take the action. Number two is you need to know what to do. I have never asked anybody ever in a million years to do the $555 job. I already figured out what you need to do. I've just asked people to listen, pay attention, and want more. How many of you truly know that you want more? How many of you know you want more? Anybody want more? How many of you recognize that you're going to do what you're going to do automatically because that's what you do and you're programmed to do? How many of you understand that? And if you're excited tonight, like, oh, I'm going to do everything he said. How many other times have you said that? I'm going to do everything he said. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to make it happen. And I've had a chance to work with a lot of you through Call to Action last year. I've had a chance to help all of you out. Some of you got involved. We were at the end of the year that we didn't expect. I don't say the C word for the vid thing. I just say the year we didn't expect. And you got started with this last year. But then there's some of you that really want more in life. And some of you need a kick in the butt and you need a change in the mindset. How many of you realize it's going to take a new mindset to make 2023 work right? You guys get that? It's going to take new communication, new mindset to get where you want to go. And I want to help all of you do that. And I'm going to tell you, 21 years ago, to be this year, I invented something that was so unique to the marketplace. I invented a way to guarantee people to get more done in 5 days than they have in 5 months by overhauling the way they communicate, by changing the way they listen and talk in a short period of time. How many of you would like to become better listeners? How many of you like to become really hear people? And how many of you would like to become better talkers? Anybody want that? And how many of you would like to cut the bullshit and really just stop screwing around with this thing called your life? Because 365 days are going to go by whether you like it or not. So I invented a program called Call to Action. It's 5 days from the comfort of your home. And I don't do it on Zoom. I'm putting in a $150,000 video wall, Tina and Kelly. It's coming in next week. You're going to have to see this thing in the building. I have a Zoom setup you wouldn't believe here, but I do it on the phone for a reason. Because when I work with martial artists, I love to put a blindfold on, because if I can get you to not see, how many of you realize you listen better? Am I correct, everyone? You listen better. So what happens is I do it over the phone. It's a couple hours a day. Run a morning course and a night course on purpose. And the reason I do this is I want you to learn how to listen, speak without having to watch someone eat a lasagna. Like, you guys are respectful tonight, but if we're doing a call at 7 o'clock in the morning, I got to watch Kevin Contu. I got to watch you eat breakfast. I don't want to do that. So I have you over the phone. It's intimate. It's easy. And you could do it with clothes on or without. How many of you understand that? Visualize whatever you'd like, figure it out. Makeup if you want or without. My wife said to me, Michael, you've done Call to Action for 20 something years. I don't even know if you brushed your teeth. It doesn't matter. You guys got it. So the point is, it's easy and it's simple. We run it every single month. So what it does is this. The first thing it does is, how many of you would like to learn how to get more done, be effective, get some of the stuff done, from everything from kicking butt, calling names, doing things, calling people, doing stuff. How many of you would like to get stuff done personally and physically and financially? Anybody want to do that? Night one is how to get yourself and others to take action. Night two is how to use what's called trigger words. Let me explain what trigger words are. How to use specific words that trigger people to buy, trigger people to do things, trigger people to take action. I'm going to tell you, if you want to say it was amazing like Julie did, feel free to say it. It is incredible. It'll blow your mind. Call to Action is about getting yourself to learn how to trigger yourself and others. How many of you would like to learn little words that you can say to get you to the gym, to get people to buy, to get more effective, to feel great? How many of you would love that? Anybody want that? What's that worth to you? Spent $250,000 in a college education that got me debt. Do you guys got it? Spent a couple of bucks on a book and I made millions of dollars. Third thing is teach you how to get out of your comfort zone. And then I'm going to show you how to put it all together and develop the skills that you need to get where you want to go. This is not a business course. This is about overriding this thing called your mind to get where it is that you want to go. So 5 days, absolutely amazing. I put together a very special website, and this is something we do at the beginning of the year. I don't always do this, is I want to reward you for making a decision. So normally the program is $600. Now, how many of you would say $600 is a pretty good deal for a new mind? Would you guys agree $600 for a new mind? $600 to learn 2 techniques. Like I'll teach you this thing. Like with my daughter, I used to tell her to go win in sports. I stopped telling my daughter to win. I tell her, show off what you've learned, because if you don't identify as a winner, you need to learn how to show off first, then win second. How many of you understand? Because if you've never won, it's a bad neural pathway. Don't teach people to be business owners. You're going to learn all kinds of crazy techniques to help you grow. It's phenomenal, like Kelly said. So it's normally $600. We have a special. We got it for half price, $300 off for anyone who wants it. I got a special website. I wrote down resultswithmichael.com. They popped it on the screen. It's $299. Let me ask you a question. How many of you are going to spend it on 2 tanks of gas? $2.99. Do you guys got it? $300. How many of you guys are going to spend that shit at Starbucks? Tony Robbins is not my competitor. My competitor is Starbucks, Vegas, Instagram ads, things you shouldn't be doing. Do you guys got it? Things you click on, buying crap that doesn't work, thinking the new fad diet's going to help you out. So it's $300. And here's my guarantee. You'll get more done in 5 days than you have in 5 months. And how many of you think if you bring in 3 extra people this year, you can make your $300 back? Does anybody think that? So I'm going to give you 2 bonuses. Number 1, how many of you would like my network marketing toolbox? And a whole gang of people are going to do this together. Everyone needs to do this. And if there's a sales pitch going on, it's not me right now, it's you. It's selling yourself whether you want the right life or not. So second thing is this, I'm going to give you the network marketing toolkit. Here's what it is. It's super cool. How many of you would like to learn how to prospect for profit? You'll get this tonight. How to prospect effectively and stop wasting your time with the wrong people. Anybody want to do that? Prospect for profit? How about overcome any objection you ever get for the rest of your life? Time, money, anything? Do you want what I would say to people? I'm going to give you exactly what I would say. And how many of you would like to become more confident? Anybody want that? Confident? That's a $50 value, actually $50 cost. It's $1 billion value if you use it correctly. And I get this confidence audio set. Tell me if you think this is cool. I hired a DJ to use what's called binaural beats, and it gets in your brain. You listen in the morning to fire you up in the morning to get you to be confident. All you can do is listen. You don't have to do anything. And the second thing is it's how to be more confident at night and put you to bed calmly. You'll love it. I'm going to send you that as well. It's a bonus that I'd love you guys to have if you want it. So how many of you believe that you deserve to give yourself a gift? A lot of you gave other people gifts for the holidays. What'd you get yourself? My wife buys herself something every year. What'd you buy you? And the greatest gift you can give yourself is one that serves you and others. For $2.99, you become a better mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, cousin, guaranteed. And we are going to have a ton of fun. I run it in the morning, I run it at night, afternoon. You got 12 months to take it. The offer is good. If you want it, you can share with your team. I will tell you, there's no pressure. I would recommend doing it right away, but I'm going to give you another bonus for those of you that do enroll tonight and do it in the next 30 or so minutes. I'm going to send you an extra little bonus out, 21 words to make anyone say yes to anything. Anybody want that? Could you make that worth your $300? So if you want it, resultswithmichael.com, go to the website. And then I want to be congruent on the next page. If you go to the next page, it's going to say, do you want a copy of Michael's book? The answer is yes, because you can't be a loser if you have a book called Average Sucks. You can't. Put it on your nightstand. Number 2, it's going to offer you the shirt for $49. Normally, this is about $80 for these 2 things. Tell us your size, what you want. This is a great recruiting tool. So when you wear this shirt, what happens is, it doesn't just happen with homeless people, but if you wear the shirt, people are going to stop you and say, nice shirt. Really, our business believes in above average health products. Would you like to be an above average healthy person? These are recruiting tools for APL Go, not for Michael Bernoff. It's going to remind you, wear it to the gym, wear it everywhere. People will stop you and you're going to get one of these. Second thing is, I did this last time. I'm going to do it again. You're going to get a copy of my book, and I'm going to show you what to do with this in a second. I'm also going to throw in a second copy as well for the next person you recruit. So if you buy the $49 package, I'm going to throw this in as well. 2 books. Here's what you do with the second one. The second book, you go like this. You find the next person you recruit. Dear Jim, super excited to be in the business with you. Super excited about the adventure we're on. Love Michael. We got big things ahead. Boom. Then you're going to go right here, right about here. Random page. Call me when you get this far. Only leaders get here. Don't tell them you did it. Give them the book. If they call you, they're worth working with. If they don't, you still got work to do. Because let me teach you about recruiting right now. This is from the Talmud. This is old school. Pay attention, everyone. When you save a life, you're responsible for it. So in this business, you're not responsible for people's success, but you are responsible for being your best. And if you do not become your best, you are hurting other people. Do you realize that if you take their money and get them started in this business, you are responsible for being great? How many of you understand what I just said? Did everybody get that? Very important. So when you say to someone, you're getting started in this business, you owe them you being your best to help them. So if I got a person, I don't drop them like a hot potato if they don't get there. I also don't tell them it's in there. I got to teach them. I got to help them. I got to educate them, and I got to help them become more effective. So I know I went about 30 minutes over. I'm going to ask all of you to make your decision tonight. You do what you want to do. I'm going to ask all of you to figure it out. I'm here to guide you and help you. I do not need your $300. I wouldn't even know it was in my bank account. Okay. I wouldn't even know it was there. What I do need is you to make the commitment. I would love to just give this to you. I know that when we gave away 15,000 copies of it in 2020, less than 2,000 people took it. This is my chance for you, just the right amount that we can decide to work together and find a way to get where we want to go. So I just want to thank all of you. I would enroll like Pamela. Good job. Everyone scream out for Pamela. You did it. You're signing up now. We got a ton of bonuses. I'd love to help you guys out. Resultswithmichael.com. If you're on the fence, get off it. It's rusty. You get tetanus and nobody wants a shot. Nobody likes shots. Okay. It's rusty, the fence. Get off and do it. Figure it out. I can answer some questions. And I got about 5 minutes and I got to run home. Mike can answer a question as well. I'd love to assist you. Tina Kelly, I went long tonight. Forgive me. I have a genetic.
Oh, you did great.
Over delivering. So anything you want me to cover or do, but this is a blast. It's an honor. You asked me to go first for your training this year. This is like a lot of pressure on me tonight.
Mike,
So
I have to say, I wrote down so many notes, and up until I met you, I actually never wrote notes. Literally never wrote notes. I don't write notes ever.
I converted you.
I'm one of those people that think they're so smart they remember everything. But it doesn't happen, all the time, most of the time, but not all the time. But I have to say, I'm so excited. I was very excited that you're coming on today because last year you were one of the monumental points, I think, that really had us turn the corner as a team. And I say that I can say that only personally, because I've had so many massive results just from I didn't learn like a ton of new stuff. I learned this, like tweaked, like kind of what I already knew a little bit. And then I learned some things tonight, like, man, you've never said that before. I'm going to use that. But here's what I encourage everybody to do. I wouldn't ask you to do anything if I didn't think it was like 1,000% worth doing. People ask me all the time. I wish they'd ask me more. Like Michael said, what did you do to get here? I promise you, I didn't go to school. I didn't do anything except for this kind of stuff. This is morphing my mind and transforming from being coached my entire life to be this way, and then learning, wow, there's this whole new arena I could play in and operate in that I didn't know that was available before. Now that's worth $1 million right there.
Yes.
Program, because listen, if you take this, if you do this and you commit to it, like really commit, and you're committing because it hurts. Right? It not hurts like physically, but it hurts like, darn it, man, I really don't want to spend this time because what if it doesn't work? I did this before. Have all these things in your mind going on, arguing with yourself, but just do it anyway. So if you ask me, Michael did some things that was totally irritated with. In fact, I'm so irritated last year with Michael because he threw out this one word that made me so angry because I had to deal with it. And it was called congruency. And I didn't know what it really meant at first, but once I learned exactly how it affected what went on in my life, things changed drastically, like super drastically. And we didn't even go over the whole food thing. I'll save that for another time. Maybe you'll have me on because I would love to explain how I used what you taught me just there in just about every aspect of my life. And it's mountains removed because of one little thing that he taught me. Lost 50 pounds, quit something I did for 30 years that I don't do anymore. Like big things.
I mean, I don't know if that's worth $300, losing 50 pounds and quitting a bad habit you haven't had your whole life. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's now I have a whole new outlook on how I look at food even. It's amazing. It doesn't own me, right? I eat to live. I don't live to eat anymore, except for sometimes one day a week. But, literally, I use what you told me and it works. It's like people literally saw weight falling off me. They saw my attitude get better. They saw my energy go up, and things are happening. So I'm a super big proponent. I know this works. And, to me, this is the entry fee. This is just the entry fee to the next thing, which is even better. So you guys want to do this because you can't do the next thing without doing this. So I hope I'm not spoiling it by saying.
No, you're not. And that's the thing. If you're expecting to fix everything for $300 in 12 hours of your life, my outcome is this. If this only makes you an extra $2,000 this year and you feel better about yourself, how many of you recognize that's better than stocks? Does anybody understand? We're going to do better than that. Okay. Number two. I'm not looking for a short-term relationship. It's not a one-night stand. Okay. This is I would like to be the person that handles this part. Let them handle your business. Let them handle how to do the business sell. I'd like to handle this piece with the mind because this is my background. They'll help you with a lot of, they'll tweak, but and also another thing, a lot of times people ask me, hey, Michael, you want to do a split? You want to give me a cut of stuff? They don't ask for anything. This is not like I'm cutting them a check when we're done tonight. They didn't ask for anything, and I don't do that. So the thing is, they want to do that. I just don't work with those people. So my job for all of you is, I would love to work with you this year. And if in 2-3 years from now, you got everything you want, or you want to keep on working with me, that's great. But my job is to help you get where you want to go. I don't need your money. I need your success stories. I want you to get it. So whatever you've got in that heart of yours that you want, hand it to me. Let's get doing it together. And here's the cool part. Mike can put in here. We've got a live call to action. We've got a call to action starting, I believe, in 2 weeks, like right around the middle of, I think it starts at the kickoff calls like the 15th or something like that, or 19th of January. January 22nd is the course. So we've got time to get you and a couple of your teammates on. So if you're enrolling, then you want to share this with your teammates and tell them to do it. But here's the thing. You can either do this alone. I think the people that lack confidence the most are the ones that try to do life themselves. I don't care how many years you've been doing what you're doing. This is not a sales training. This is like, I'm the guy that your kids shouldn't be watching, but I'm the guy that Jake Paul calls to go work with, help him get over his issue with his girl problem. And then he becomes a boxer. I'm the guy that gets called up. He can call anybody in the world. Okay. And they call me to fly up to Calabasas to work with him with his problems. I'm the guy that deals with the biggest psychological issues you can imagine, from suicide to this. So your business issues and your personal weight losses are pale in comparison. If you want me to pretend they're big, I can. This is going to be simple. Mikhail's seen me do crazy breakthroughs for people. So whatever it is you think is in your way, like recruiting, selling, and prospecting, we're going to get that shit out of the way in the first few months. And then we're going to get on to living differently. How many of you would like to live differently? Anybody want to live differently, be more effective, really get the real part of themselves to come out? So 2 things I recommend: take the course, get the book, resultswithmichael.com. If $300 is your problem, that's a problem. Go figure that out. My 10-year-old, almost 11, has $300. Figure it out. Okay. Figure it out. And the reason is because you've got to figure this out. So any other questions you have for me? I got a couple minutes, and then anything you have for me or anything you want me to cover, I can answer questions for people about this or anything. I got a few minutes. I just typed my family, said I'll be a few more minutes.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. We are
Free coaching.
Yeah. It doesn't get better than this. You guys ask us all the time, like I'm talking about every day. We get texts from you guys saying, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? This is what we do. We're putting it all on the line for you this month. You've seen our January calendar. I don't know if you guys have looked at it since Michael started talking, but have you noticed some of the language that's used even in our training calendar? Commitment, congruency, confidence, communication. This is the start. This is where it starts. And this is where you begin your transformation. And we are going to take it all month long in 15-minute increments. Don't miss these trainings. They'll all be recorded, but this is the big one, right? We can give you the how-to. We can give you the details. We can show you how to sign up a new customer, but we can't do what Michael does when it comes to your mind and where it needs to be. Only Michael can do that. So don't miss this opportunity. Call to action's incredible. We are, of course, doing it again. Wouldn't miss it. And then come April, when CORE comes around in Scottsdale, we will, of course, be doing a huge APL Go blowout party here at our house around the weekend of CORE. So it's an all-inclusive, right? It's not CORE is one thing and APL is another. We're all one thing now. And we're absolutely embrace this new lifestyle. Average sucks. And I just can't say enough about it. So.
Yeah, it's something that when you choose to do it, just be consistent, like we always tell you with everything else. Don't be the person at the end of this year saying, you know what, I wonder what it would have looked like if I would have just maybe started off. There's a reason. We don't just pull the stuff out of a hat, rabbit out of a hat just to, keep people busy. Like a lot of effort and thought goes into everything we do. Everything is a calculated move to win, right? We want you to win. Michael wasn't lying when he said the best compliment you could give us, the best present, gift, whatever, is go win. Go kick our butts. Go pass us up. Go win. We want you to win, genuinely, right? I know you in your life, nobody else wants you to win, But I know here in this group, in this team, there's people that want you to win more than you do.
Yep.
Right. So just realize, right.
Get comfortable with that. Get comfortable with that. Get comfortable that they're taking a stand for your future, that they give a shit so much. Like, folks, we don't have to be doing this tonight. I mean, we all could go do something different. Let me tell you real quick. If we wanted an easier life, we would sell mortgages and merchant accounts. We have no meaning in our life, but this business is not that. This business is about a product that makes a difference in this world that people need health-wise, and an opportunity for people to change their life financially. The three of us could get together and just go sell houses or something, or just invest. Life would be so much easier, but we wouldn't have the purpose. We wouldn't have the mission. Because I know we think about it. I mean, Tina Kelly have to think like I do. Well, I work so hard. I could just go sell hedge funds, and we could. But we would not be doing what we're doing here, helping people get from where they are to where they want to go quickly. So again, resultsofmichael.com. To answer the question someone has about Happy New Year's, people are going to say Happy New Year to you. And I have a very interesting thing. I sent an email out this morning. I said, we got this natural tendency to say Happy New Year to people. And the question is, do you really want a Happy New Year, or do you want your New Year to be different? I want you to think of that question. Are you looking for a happy year? Or are you looking for your to be different than last year and to be happy because it is different? I challenge people with that statement. So when someone says Happy New Year, I say, thank you. I appreciate it. Are you doing anything to make this year different than last year? And then they'll tell you odds are to be health related and financially related. Does anybody know? Raise your hand if you know something that could help someone health wise and financially. Does it start with an A and end with an O? Really? Is anybody getting this? They're going to say Happy fucking New Year to you. How many of you understand that? I don't know how to nicely say it. You've got 3 days. Happy New Year. You're going to very quickly say, thank you. Are you doing anything this year to make yourself happy that's different? Then they're going to tell you health or financial. Awesome. We've got a community of people that get together to work on their finances. How many of you are getting this shit? You guys catching on? And then you don't sell them a business. Stop selling business opportunities, you freaks. Start selling people club and community. How many of you recognize that's what we're all after? Club and community. We're a club of people. Tina and Kelly, they got a group of people. We all get together. We talk once a week. We talk about health. We talk about finance. We talk about growth. We really hold each other accountable to our financial gains. Boom. Any last question? Am I muted? Oh, I'm not hearing people. You guys there?
All right, we were muted. Now,
Oh, you guys, you are.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we've already got people signing up. It's gonna
Great.
be a great group, and this will be recorded. This will be on the team page. If you have team members that did not watch this, tag them on it. Tell them they absolutely have to see it. It is a must, right? They have to see this in the next 24 hours.
I would send the link and then send it to us as well. I'd love to share. So make sure my team gets it as well. And then Tanner's going to promote it out to you guys. The one thing I was going to say is, if this is the free stuff, imagine what the paid for stuff is. Interesting. And my buddy Jeff Hayes, he did the Vaxxed movie back in the day. Whether you're for that or not doesn't matter. He's the guy that just did the new movie. He's very revealed films. Very wealthy guy, got his planes and cars and houses, lives in Utah. Now Jeff said, I paid a guy $25,000 recently to coach me for a day. I said, yeah. He goes, you know why it's important? I paid him 25 grand. So he had to show up great. And I had to pay 25 grand. So I had to get my money back. How many of you understand that? That's the way we got to look at this thing. And that's, or anything in life. How many of you recognize when you put money into something you do, whether it's this or anything, you got to get it back. So when somebody's paying into the business, they're paying you to be great. Do you guys understand that? You cannot be average anymore if you choose to make this business work. And if you don't like my tone, business ain't gonna work for you. Do you guys understand? I'm nothing compared to that prospect that's gonna knock you out of the game. I'm nothing compared to the IRS sending the letter in the mail. Do you guys get it? So all I'm saying is, I want this for you. I care. The core dates, we have April and October. People that have those, we'll get those offline for any of you. You can email Mike on our team, action@michaelbernoff.com. Next steps are going to be very, very simple. You're going to enroll. Results with Michael.com. Pick the book or don't. We're going to then call you, either John or Mike or someone else on our team will call you this week. They're going to get you dialed in for January, February, or March call to action. Be a winner and do it in January. And I don't want to hear you don't have time, because you can do it in the morning, the night or record it at your own pace, whatever you choose. But if you're easily offended, you got the wrong generation to live in, and I'm going to push you. We're going to have fun, but I am going to help you destroy that old part of you that holds you back. How many of you are ready to destroy that part? You guys ready to crush that once and for all and leave that? And we're going to get rid of that and leave that in 2022. It's still early enough in the year that we can still jam it into 2022 and leave it there. So Tina and Kelly, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. I'm excited to help out and share. Let's send this out to everybody. And I'm going to leave this just to tell you, the bonus is good today. I'll be very clear. And the double book is good for today. Okay, that's one thing. Number two is I'm going to leave the page price up until, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to leave this up till Friday to give you time to get the replays out. Okay, but then I have to stop that because if you leave it forever, people don't make decisions. So I want you to pretend it's up for 3 minutes. Does that make sense, everybody? Can everybody pretend it's up for 3 minutes? How long is it up for? 3 minutes. That's all you get. 3 minutes. But everybody here live tonight, you got 1 minute left. So go make your decision, resultswithmichael.com. And think of it when you go to that page, when you're committing to, you're committing to you. You're buying a better version of you. So with that said, thank you. Appreciate you.
so
Have a
much,
great day.
So
And
much.
if you need anything else, let me know. I'll leave with Mike with you guys. I'm gonna go see my family. See you guys.
Michael, we'll see
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Lots of love. We got to connect soon.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.